Hello everyone, welcome to another Ismono podcast. And first and foremost, I need to tell you that unfortunately I do have COVID and I'm struggling a little bit with a cough. Other than that, I'm much better than the first time that I had COVID. But you might hear it, my voice isn't that great and I have a cough drop in my mouth. So sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weird, and please excuse that I have the cough drop in my mouth, but it hopefully will prevent me from coughing too much during this recording. And also I will need to drink a lot of water while talking. Also, I will try to keep it brief so I don't strain my voice too much. But this episode is actually inspired by a question on my last podcast episode. The comment was from Maggie Fuchs, who asked, I actually have a question. In the end of your interview with Odie Matthews, you started talking that you started your own terms and conditions for your reviews and then you had to stop the conversation. So that was quite a cliffhanger. So that inspired me to talk a little bit about the terms and conditions that I always send out to a brand if they ask me to do a review about their product. And I always send that out in advance to that brand to really make sure that they are aware of the fact that I have these terms and these conditions, but more importantly, also to protect myself, because in the beginning, many years ago, I actually did a review where, as you know, I like to kind of nitpick about the negatives of a product, because I believe that makes it much easier for you as a viewer to kind of evaluate if you can live or work around those flaws. And that brand actually did not like the review, although the verdict of the video and the review was quite positive. I recommended that bag, but there were a couple of negative points that, as I said, I like to nitpick, and they didn't really agree with what I was nitpicking about, and I believe they were hoping for a purely positive review, which obviously A, is not possible. Every item will have some negatives, and B, why should I lie? These videos are for you, my viewers, my subscribers, and there is no point for me to only cover the positives, because A, if it's just positives, then you could look at the product page of that specific item. And B, honestly, making these videos is much more expensive for me than the value of the item. I think there is a huge misconception about that when a content creator receives an item for free, that content creator needs to be biased or is biased. Because even if you get, and I have mentioned this kind of simplified calculations a couple of times, but I want to kind of repeat this thinking, or this fact basically, to introduce why I made this terms and condition. Because even if a product is 200, 300 euros or even higher, that cost of that item does not cover the production costs of these videos, because making a video takes at least 10 hours. In many cases, even more, because you also need to take into consideration the review period. If you review an item, you just don't carry it around. It's also somewhat work, because you need to take notes, you need to evaluate everything that you learn during the test period. So that is also work. So all in all, at least you will work on a video for 20 hours. If you consider then minimum wage, and I think if you're a content creator, you should get more than minimum wage. But even if you just get minimum wage, it is much more expensive, or your wage is much more valuable than the cost of that product. Therefore, just from that perspective alone, if you get an item for free, you still pay for that by working, and working much more than that item is worth. So for me personally, I don't see a reason to create a video that is biased towards the brand just because they gave me a free product. So that is really important to keep in mind. Now, because that brand kind of, what's the most polite word? I can swear on my, because they kind of fucked me over and that with that, I was actually really angry about that. I made these terms and conditions, and I make it a point to always send out these terms and conditions in writing and then get back an email that they actually understand these terms and conditions and they agree to that. And that is really important. And I think you should actually have something like this in place to kind of cover your own ass, but also be transparent to the brand, what you're doing and what could happen. And also, now that I kind of guide you through what I have in place, you kind of also know, for transparency's sake, what I always put on the table when I am in contact with the brand. Now, so I always start with a little bit of an introduction, and let me just read it for you. The introduction before going into all of these points is: my views are used to my integrity and quality of my unbiased reviews and content overall. This is also what makes unbiased reviews so valuable to you as a brand, because so that was the introduction to my terms and conditions. And I think it is very important for the brand, for you as my viewers, and for me and my integrity, that you as a viewer believe or trust my reviews. If there is at any point some form of hint that my videos are biased, then any continuing review would be worth nothing. And covering the negatives and the positives just solidifies and underlines the integrity and the trustworthiness of this review. Because I see too many reviews, especially in the tech industry, when it comes down, for example, to phones. I like to watch phone reviews, but I do notice that the majority of these reviews only cover the positives, and then I'm just sitting there. I watched a video that is basically just covering the features of the phone and kind of saying how good it is, but it's rarely covered what's negative about that specific item. And then for me, the review isn't worth anything. I need negatives, no matter if they are nitpicky. These negatives, A, help me, and B, make it, for me as a viewer, much more confident to trust that review, because I have the feeling that that is actually a review and not just only covering the positives about a specific item. So this was somewhat my intro to the terms and conditions. And the very first part, and that is important, especially also in regards to, I'm not sure what the department is called in Germany, but I believe in USA it's the FCC. I think so, I'm not sure. But in Germany it is that as soon money changes hands, or the item that you receive is higher than, I believe it's 250 euros, you have to disclose that you have been paid and that you have received an item for free. But more importantly, if you have been paid, a video cannot be a review. That is really important. As soon as money changes hands, it is not a review. You cannot consider it a review. If there is a ad read in the middle, that has obviously nothing to do with the review, because it is paid by a completely different brand. But if the brand that the review is about is paying you money, then it's not a review. Then you cannot consider it a review. And that is really important. And that is also what I really like that is also what I really dislike about some camera reviews. For example, Insta360. There have been a couple of videos that called themselves review, but then also said this video is sponsored by Insta360, and then there is only positives in that supposedly review. I really dislike that. So again, no money is allowed to change hands if you want to make a review. And in Germany as well, if you receive a product above 250 euros, I believe, or 300 euros, A, you have to disclose that you got that item for free, and B, more importantly, you can only call that video a review if that department sees that there is a balance between positives and negatives. If you, for example, only cover positives, then there is a high likeliness that the video can be perceived as a bought video, and therefore it's not allowed to be called review. So that is really important to cover the negatives as well. So now in this point I say costs. I need to make sure that you know that this review is my own opinion and will not be influenced. Apprentices, is that the right words? E.g. via a brand script or key points that you might want to be covered. Furthermore, I won't take any money. And yeah, so it is really important that no money exchange hands. And more importantly, many brands kind of think that as soon as they exchange money, then obviously it's a job and they can give you a script or points that they want to have covered in that video. But this is all for reviews. So they have no say and no money exchanges hands. That is really important. Next point is how I review. Speaking of unbiased reviews or videos, I respect your work, but the respect towards your potential customers and the viewers of my videos is more important and has more value for the video. Please be aware of my work and the way I review an item. I always show positives and negatives of an item in a fair and unbiased way, but I like to concentrate on the negatives, even if they sometimes seem nitpicky. Because I believe this is the best way for a viewer to evaluate if he or she can live or work around these negatives. And even if there are some negatives, this does not directly result in a bad verdict. So that is, I think, the key point of this terms and conditions, that the brand is highly aware of how I review. And I really want to kind of prime you as a viewers, but also the brand, that is the way I will go about the video. I will look specifically for the negatives and I will cover the negatives in the video because I believe those points are important to you as my viewers, and there is no point in the video if it's just positives. I need to cover the negatives, and I really want to make a clear point to the brand that they know what they are getting themselves into if I review their product. So that is the most important part of this terms and conditions. Next point that follows right up is negative review. Although I have never had this happen before, I also reserve the right to not create a review if I feel like the item isn't as good as anticipated, i.e. the negatives heavily outweigh the positives. If this should be the case and I don't want to recreate the video, I would recommend to keep the item to save unnecessary shipping costs and protect the environment. So this is just for a little bit of precaution to make sure that I don't have to deal with unnecessary shipping back and forth, and obviously shipping internationally is A, expensive, and B, is very unnecessary and not good for the environment. So I only had this happen once where I thought the item is not great and isn't worth making a video because A, the product wasn't great, and B, no one knew of that product. So that was where the first time I decided not to make a video about that. And that just kind of opened my eyes to kind of include this in my terms and conditions if that should happen again, just to have a little bit of a back door if I believe it's not worth making that video. And yeah, that's the only reason why that is in there. And I just want to prime any brand to kind of understand that could happen. It rarely happens. And if they believe in the product, it probably shouldn't happen. But sometimes there are products where there is the possibility. Next up, and that is also really important aspect of an unbiased review and an unbiased video, no preview. Please understand that there is a lot of work, time, and money going into creating my videos. From a long testing period to scripting, filming, and post-production, there is usually, in addition to the review time, around a week worth of work for every video. Therefore, I will not change or delete a video after it has been published, nor can you preview the video in advance. That is actually also, I forgot about that, to be honest. I also once made a video review about an item where the brand, and I do kind of understand, it was a one-man show and he did not like some of the points that I mentioned in the video. Again, also a video that had a positive verdict, which is the reason why I was kind of pissed at that. He thought that my video would damage his brand. And that was very early in my YouTube career, where I honestly just didn't want to go through the hassle and arguing with that person. From his perspective, I kind of understood why he was afraid that that video would damage his brand. And he was just doing that on the side, and it was a small little product, so he was all doing it himself. And from that perspective, I do understand that. But again, in the end, it was a recommendation on that product. I only covered a few things that I thought that should be improved in the future. He didn't like it. He asked me to take down the video. I didn't care to argue with him about it, so I took down the video. That is the reason why I included this part of that the brand has no say in the future, that they can ask me to delete the video. And more importantly also that they do not have the right to preview the video, because if they had the right to preview the video, that would kind of between the lines say, oh, you have some option to change something, you know. That is why there is no preview for brand. The viewers and the brand sees the video all at the same time. So that's really important also, that they cannot delete it or cannot ask me to delete it. So that's really important. The next point is scheduling. And I included this basically because YouTube is my passion project. This is something that I do on the side in addition to my regular job that is paying my rent. So this point says scheduling. Further, making YouTube videos is my passion and I love making videos. But YouTube is not my main income. While there is some money coming through monetization, this does not cover my production costs. I rather invest a lot of time and money into the production of my videos. Therefore, my video production schedule is highly reliant on my work schedule. Depending on my work schedule, it might take a while until a video review is finished, and I cannot make any prediction or promises when a video will be online. Yeah, as I said, YouTube is my passion project. I get money from the YouTube monetization and, as you know, from affiliate links, but that's just a small drop in the bucket. That's nothing at all, to be honest. I would not be able to pay rent with that. I am not able to kind of cover like equipment costs and stuff like that. And if I put all of that money together and then divided by all of the hours that I need to create these videos, I wouldn't even hit the minimum wage in Germany. So that is why I cannot kind of concentrate too much on YouTube, because if there is a job that is occupying all of my schedule, I need to focus on that job because that job is paying my rent. So sometimes when I have a big project that goes for a couple of weeks, I just don't have time to make YouTube videos in that period. So it is really important for me to tell the brand, hey, there is a chance that a video can take weeks or even months before I actually can make that video, because these videos do not pay my rent. They cannot pay my rent. I need to work. So there is a high likeliness that these videos will take a lot of time, and you need to be aware of that fact. And there are a lot of brands that kind of ask you all of the time, when are the videos ready? When is the video ready? And if I did not have this point in my terms and condition, they would get a little bit pushy. But with this in place, and when they agree to it, I can kind of say, hey, I made you aware of the fact that this is just something I do on the side. I have a job. I need to rely on focusing on that job first, and then I can make a YouTube video. So please, I thank you for your patience, but please have a little bit more patience, The next point is intellectual property. Last but not least, although this should be obvious, as the creator of the video, all rights belong to me. You may use the YouTube link to embed the video on your website or social media, but you may not download, re-upload, or alter the video in any way. Moreover, I do not grant any request to delete a video after the video has been published. And that is really important, because sometimes, and I had this not with the brand itself, but with a completely different brand that stole my video and repurposed that video for a knockoff of a bag that is a knockoff of Air. They used my video to kind of promote their knockoff product, and that was a really annoying situation. But you kind of need to make sure that the brand just doesn't willy-nilly download your video because they think, oh, that's our product and that's our review. I can just download it and upload it on my brand's YouTube page. You need to really be careful about that, because I bought all of the music rights, and therefore those music rights are only cleared for my channel. So if they would upload it to their channel, then it would get copyright striked, not copyright strike, flagged for copyright infringement. And so that's the main reason why you cannot do that. But more importantly, if my review would appear on a brand's channel, there is a subconscious perception that that video is potentially a bought review, and I want to protect myself from not giving this subconscious perception to any other viewers. And obviously, if they put it on their channel, I don't get the view and the monetization from that view. So there are a lot of things why you shouldn't do that. However, if they have, for example, a product page and they feel like the video is great, then there is a function on YouTube where you can kind of embed the YouTube video on a different page. And so I allow that, but I do not allow kind of like downloading it, re-uploading it, or what I really do not like is if someone downloads it, takes a snippet part of that video and puts it like into an ad. For example, you've seen that maybe with Unbox Therapy and Marcus Brownlee, and where a tech product kind of took out snippets of a review where that person only said the positives and then put it into there. And while in most cases it's okay from what is being communicated, it's still something I personally would not like if that would happen, to be honest. So that is really important to put into this terms and conditions. Also, I have something like affiliate links. If the brand has affiliate link marketing, I would like to sign up for that affiliate marketing program, but that in essence is my terms and conditions that I always send over to a brand to kind of prime them on how I work, what kind of risks there are. The risk being is that if I don't like the product, there might not be a video review about that. So that is really important for me to kind of send over to a brand and then get a confirmation that they A, understand it, and they B, that they agree to this. And yeah, so full transparency, these are my terms and conditions for all of my video reviews when I am in communication with the brand. So now you know what all of the brands agree to when they send me a product, when they ask me to do a review. And yeah, I hope that you kind of like this and you like this transparency and now knowing what goes into making these video reviews. And honestly, I really hope that this kind of strengthens the trust that you have in my reviews. And this, for me personally, it's way more important that you as my viewers trust my reviews. And honestly, I don't care about brands. I like brands and I respect their work, but I do not see a benefit of, what's the English word, kind of sucking up, or kind of, what's the word? Yeah, kind of sucking up to a brand, because there is no value for the brand. If I would only make positive reviews and never cover negatives, you as a viewer would kind of start not trusting my reviews, or at least you wouldn't see any benefit in my reviews, or at least that's how I feel. I don't see a benefit of watching purely positive reviews. And if you don't see a value in watching my reviews, then there is no value for the brand having me review a product, besides it kind of spreading out the word. And there's no point, in my humble opinion, neither for you as my viewers, nor for the brand to have me, the content creator, create a review. The brand has so much more to gain if their product is being reviewed by a person that the viewers trust, because that review holds so much more gravitas than just a pure positive review where you kind of get the subconscious feeling, oh, this is just the product page reiterated. You know what I mean? So if a brand, that's just me. That's my personal opinion. For a brand, it's much better to have one review that covers a couple of negatives, but where people say, oh, that review has such a lot of value and trust to it. So, and there are some negatives, and because I trust that reviewer, the verdict and the positive points that content creator sees and finds in a product have much more gravitas and much more weight than 10 videos that only cover the same points, the same positives that you can find on the product page. You know what I mean? So from my personal perspective, it is much more valuable to the viewer, to the brand, to have negative and balanced reviews that also cover the negatives. And I hope that makes sense. Let me know, what do you think about this terms and conditions? And was it helpful to you, even if you are not yourself a content creator, to just see these kind of terms and conditions? Let me know in the comment section below. Maybe you have some ideas if there is something else that I should put into these terms and conditions. And maybe if you're a brand yourself, or you consider making a product in the future and you think about someone reviewing your product, what do you think about these terms and conditions and the value of having very balanced reviews? Comment below, let me know. And yeah, I hope listening to this wasn't that bad with my voice, and I'm honestly surprised that my voice is still holding up, at least to my ears right now. All right, stay safe and more importantly, stay healthy. If you get COVID, please quarantine yourself, or if you get outside, wear a mask. I actually did not go to any parties or anything. I got COVID from the supermarket. There was a person in front of me. I can kind of pinpoint it to that one point because I didn't do anything else, because I was working from home, so I didn't meet anyone else. So I'm 90% sure that person was the reason why I got COVID, and that was in the supermarket. So if you're sick, even if you just think that it is a cough or a flu, just wear a mask. I know I probably get flagged again from that one person who said I'm a super masker, but you do you. I'm just saying that if you wear a mask, if you're sick and you wear a mask, you kind of reduce the risk of infecting someone else. And I'm the proof that that person was coughing and sneezing 2 meters away from me and I got it. So yeah, that kind of sucked and annoys me. But yeah, I'm getting better. And again, stay safe and healthy. And I see you in the next video and next podcast. Thank you very much for listening.